Ever heard the saying, don't believe everything you read in history books? Yeah, turns out sometimes you actually should. Because history isn't just full of myths. Some of those myths turned out to be 100% real. From cities everyone thought were fairy tales, to monsters that actually existed. Today we're digging into the historical myths that turned out to be true. Troy, the mythical city that wasn't so mythical. For centuries, people thought Homer's Iliad was just poetic nonsense. A great war, a wooden horse, and a love triangle so dramatic it could make Netflix jealous. Basically, the first Hollywood blockbuster, written nearly 3,000 years ago. Scholars rolled their eyes and said, "Sure, buddy, a 10-year war over one woman? Totally believable." But then, in the 1870s, a German businessman named Heinrich Schliemann decided to take the story seriously. He wasn't an archaeologist, at least not officially, more like a man with too much money, too much confidence, and a dangerous enthusiasm for ancient epics. So he grabbed a shovel and said, "Hold my Iliad." After years of digging in modern-day Turkey, he unearthed the ruins of a massive ancient city. Walls, gates, weapons, jewelry, and layers of destruction that matched the time Homer described. Schliemann declared, "I have found Troy." And just like that, one of history's greatest myths suddenly had an address. Now, was he a brilliant visionary or just a treasure hunter who bulldozed priceless history in his rush for fame? That's still debated. He did destroy a lot of evidence in his excitement, but he also proved something incredible. Troy wasn't just a story, it was real. It was proof that sometimes legends aren't born from imagination, they're born from memory. The lost city of Heracleion, Egypt's Atlantis. For centuries, Egyptian texts spoke of a magnificent city swallowed by the sea, Heracleion. Archaeologists dismissed it as myth, because sunken cities sound like the kind of thing Aquaman would live in. Then, in the year 2000, a team of divers off the coast of Alexandria found it, the lost city itself, perfectly preserved beneath the Mediterranean. Massive statues of pharaohs, crumbling temples, and coins gleaming like they were waiting to be rediscovered. It had been hiding there for more than 1,200 years. Heracleion had been Egypt's great port city, a place where trade, religion, and politics met in glittering temples dedicated to Amun and Heracles. But one day, a series of earthquakes and rising tides pulled it into the sea, turning legend into Atlantis-like mystery. For centuries, it was forgotten, erased from maps, surviving only in whispers of priests and old papyri, until technology and persistence finally uncovered it again. What was once dismissed as myth became one of the most breathtaking underwater discoveries in history. It's a reminder that sometimes myths don't sink, they just wait beneath the surface for us to find them again. Vlad the Impaler, the real-life Dracula. Everyone knows Count Dracula. Pale, immortal, drinks blood, bad at sunlight. But the myth was inspired by someone disturbingly real. Vlad III of Wallachia, also known as Vlad the Impaler. He didn't suck blood, but he did enjoy decorating forests with his enemies, thousands of them. He ruled in the 1400s in a region constantly torn between the Ottoman Empire and European powers. To keep enemies at bay, he ruled through fear, and fear worked. His brutal reputation spread across Europe. Stories of his cruelty printed in early pamphlets became viral horror tales of the Middle Ages. He was said to dine among the dead, sometimes eating his meals beside the bodies of those he executed. By the time Bram Stoker wrote Dracula in 1897, Vlad's legend had already done most of the work. A real man of blood turned into a monster of myth. A noble turned nightmare. So yeah, Dracula was real, just less sexy vampire, more walking red flag. The Amazons, warrior women of ancient Greece. For centuries, people thought the Amazons, those fierce warrior women from Greek myths, were pure fantasy. Tales of women on horseback, wielding bows, fighting men and gods alike. Too wild to be true, right? For generations, scholars said they never existed. that they were just Greek men's imagination gone wild, a kind of ancient girl boss myth to make stories more dramatic. Then archaeologists started digging across the steppes of Central Asia, and what they found changed everything. Burial mounds filled with the remains of female warriors, bows, arrows, daggers, horses, armor, and even signs of battle wounds. These were the Scythians, fierce nomads who roamed the plains north of Greece, and among them, women fought alongside men, hunted, and led in war. To the Greeks, they were shocking. So shocking, they turned them into legends. Turns out the Greeks weren't exaggerating much, they just couldn't handle powerful women, apparently. So yeah, the Amazons existed, and they could definitely bench press more than you. The Oracle of Delphi. Hallucinations or hidden science? The ancient Greeks claimed the Oracle of Delphi could talk to the gods. Kings, generals, and philosophers traveled from across the known world to hear her cryptic prophecies, whispered from a temple high above the cliffs of Mount Parnassus. Modern scholars, of course, thought she was just a clever scam artist, a priestess making vague predictions while everyone else filled in the blanks. Basically, the original influencer with a god complex. But then scientists made a shocking discovery: ethylene gas leaking through the rocks beneath the temple, a hallucinogenic vapor that could actually cause visions, euphoria, and even a trance-like state. So maybe the oracle was speaking with the gods, just with a little help from natural hallucinogens. Turns out the ancient Greeks weren't crazy. They were just accidentally doing chemistry. The Rosetta Stone, the myth that decoded Egypt. For centuries, Egyptian hieroglyphs were a mystery. Beautiful carvings no one could read. People thought they were sacred symbols, secret codes, or worse, alien writing. Thanks, Internet. Then came the Rosetta Stone, a single slab of black basalt found by French soldiers in 1799. It didn't look like much, but it had one thing ancient Egypt never expected: a translation key. Because the stone contained the same text written 3 times, once in Greek, once in Egyptian Demotic, and once in hieroglyphs. For the first time, scholars had a code breaker, a linguistic time machine. Enter Jean-François Champollion, a French linguist who obsessed over the stone for 2 decades. When he finally cracked the code in 1822, he didn't just read Egyptian, he resurrected an entire civilization's voice. The Rosetta Stone turned myth into fact, unlocking a language, a culture, and 3,000 years of history. And Champollion? Let's just say he was the Indiana Jones of the 1800s, minus the hat, plus way more dictionaries. Zombie myths from Haiti. Science meets the supernatural. In Haitian folklore, zombies weren't Hollywood monsters. They were said to be real people, reanimated corpses controlled by powerful sorcerers, the walking dead, bound by dark magic and fear. For centuries, outsiders dismissed these tales as superstition, spooky campfire stories born from fear and colonial misunderstanding. Because seriously, corpses coming back to life? That's movie territory. But in the 1980s, science did what it always does. It made the myth weirdly real. Researchers found a neurotoxin in pufferfish that could slow breathing and heartbeats so much it looked like death itself. Victims poisoned with this zombie powder could be declared dead, buried alive, and later revived once the effects wore off. To terrified villagers, that was resurrection, a body that died and then walked again. So yeah, zombie powder was real, not black magic, just biochemistry gone horrifyingly right. Thanks, science, for making the supernatural somehow even scarier. The giant skeletons of ancient legends. Tales of giants appear in almost every ancient culture, from Norse sagas and the Bible to Native American legends. Massive beings who shaped mountains, built cities, and sometimes even fought the gods. To ancient people, giant bones were proof these stories were true. They didn't know about extinct animals or fossilization. When they dug up enormous bones, they saw evidence of heroes, not mastodons. Turns out many of those giant skeletons were actually mastodon and mammoth remains. Prehistoric elephants with tusks mistaken for giant human ribs or legs. So technically, ancient people did find giants. They were just really hairy elephants. And honestly, that might be even cooler. The curse of Otzi, the Iceman. When scientists discovered a perfectly preserved Ice Age mummy in the Alps, they were stunned. His skin, clothes, even his last meal, frozen in time for over 5,000 years. They named him Otzi. At first, it was one of the greatest archaeological finds ever, a real human window into the Stone Age. But then things got strange, because one by one, people who examined Otzi started to die. The first was the man who found him, killed in an avalanche. Then a forensic pathologist died of a rare blood condition, a mountain guide, an archaeologist, even a filmmaker. 6 deaths, all linked to the same frozen body. Skeptics call it coincidence. After all, thousands studied Otzi and lived to tell the tale. But the idea of an ancient curse, it's just too perfect for our storytelling brains to resist. Whether it's bad luck or something colder, Otzi reminds us that the past doesn't always stay buried. Sometimes it freezes, waiting for someone curious enough to dig it up. Where myth and truth collide. From lost cities to cursed mummies, every legend starts the same way, with something unbelievable that someone, somewhere, refuses to stop believing. Because history isn't just carved in stone, it's buried in the dirt, whispered through myths, and rediscovered every time we dare to ask, what if it was true? Because sometimes the line between myth and reality is thinner than we think. And the truth? Like, share and subscribe for more history the world forgot.